Green flag in the air, we're running. Just like that, Evan Pienta into pit lane. Sorry for the delay, folks. We're getting word that we were not live. I'm just trying to verify that. It appears that we are. I'm just trying to be sure 100%. This is an important one. Justin Wilson still out front. 28 of Chris Smith, right to the back bumper. Johnny Rapp runs in third. Wilson putting some distance, not much, but some between himself and the 28. Rapp was able to reel in Smith there out of turn 4. Now it's the other way around. Smith gains some ground on Rapp and closes the gap to the back of the 58. And a whole bunch of panic for no reason. We just verified we are indeed live. I'm double checking it on a backup source, but yes, we are live. So sorry for the delays there. We had a little misconception, misconfusion to start this thing off, but we got her squared away. 5 laps in here at Homestead. Wilson leads over Smith, Rapp, Jones, and the 11 of Brian Brobst. Jones, however, up 4 positions from the drop of the green flag, moving forward in a hurry, working that high line. Able to build a lot of momentum on that top side. A little early for it to be coming in this soon, but look at the run. He gets out of turn 4. Jones looks up to the back bumper of the 52, switches lanes, goes to the bottom into turn 1, takes the spot. We got Mia J and Yellow Rose in the chat. Thanks for helping us out there, Yellow Rose, just confirming the live. Not sure what happened there, but either way, we're up and running and we're happy about it. Steph Marley in the chat as well. So we watch Rye Jones still work that high side, trying to work his way to the top spot. He's doing a good job of it so far. Johnny Rapp tried to battle back, but now we got another fight here. It was 3 wide for just a moment with Scott Tompkins. 25 on the outside, and Brobst. Chris French was the other machine that was involved in that 3 wide. It settled out 2 by 2. Oh, real loose off the corner. The 53 of French hangs on to it. Scott Tompkins jumps to the bottom. What happened up front? Rye Jones goes to the point. Scott Tompkins goes from 4th, 5th, almost to 2nd here. Still not clear of Wilson. Wow, this place puts on a show. So Rye Jones out in front. 8 laps, started 8th to the lead with Chris Smith making his move to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to retake that. Smith hangs on to the 2nd spot, but he does make it around the 58 of Wilson. French dives to the bottom of the racetrack to take this from Tompkins now, not quite clear. Tompkins hanging on the right rear of the 53, while Wilson's way up the racetrack. They're 3 wide out of 2. Rye Jones hanging on to that race lead for the time being. He's got about 2-3 tenths. Now it shrinks a bit now to just over a tenth, now under a tenth. Chris Smith with a big-time run into the corner, but Jones up top is going to have the run down the straightaway. Jones and Smith battling still for the top spot. Jones not willing to give up the top lane. Chris Smith working on the bottom still. Bit of a seesaw back and forth between these two as the laps tick on by. The difference between these two positions with first and second, Rye Jones, of course, running the high side of the racetrack, Chris Smith running the bottom. They both seem to be similarly paced, both within half a tenth of that last time across the start-finish line. But, of course, Chris on the bottom of the racetrack is going to use a whole lot less fuel because he's running a shorter distance, effectively being at the bottom. You see this racetrack is pretty wide. You can definitely go 3 wide. If you're real careful about it, you can squeeze 4 trucks in a row there. I don't recommend it, but it can be done. But you see the difference from top to bottom. It's definitely a shorter run around the racetrack on the bottom line. Drivers have a 70% fuel load, so a little bit shorter fuel run than you'd normally expect on a full load. So that's going to force a little bit of fuel strategy. 2 sets of tires over the wall to work with as well, so these guys are going to need to be a little picky choosy about when they bolt on fresh rubber. Smith now to the inside of Jones, but once again, Jones still using that outside line. It really carries him down the straightaway. The risk that you run here is if you run that high side, you pretty much have to be perfect. There is no room to make a save up top. The truck wiggles just ever so slightly in that ultra-high line. It's going to be in the fence before you can think about trying to correct. Meanwhile, Smith to the bottom of the racetrack now gets clear of Rye Jones, takes over the top spot. New leader, lap 16. Right on board with Chris Smith now looking back at the rest of the field. He definitely has to win this race at a minimum, but he's also going to need a little bit of bad luck out of Justin Wilson. Jones going back to the top of the racetrack doesn't seem to be paying off as well as it was earlier. Jones a tenth and a half slower than Smith the last time. And the same holds true this lap. Back to third place, Justin Wilson in the number 58. Just taking care of the truck here. Doesn't need to push too hard, just needs a solid run. Admittedly, not his favorite racetrack. Tompkins trying to switch up his approach here. He's up to the top side of the racetrack, too. Just like that, 20 laps in the books here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Chris Smith continues to lead. Rye Jones second, Wilson, Rapp, and Tompkins the top 5. Chris French up the racetrack as well, still battling with Brian Groves. That's been the case since the drop of the green flag. But here comes Pat Colby in the 9. Started in the 9th position, runs in the 9th position. French gets clear of the 11. Now starts to set his sights on the 16 of Brandon Ayers. This would be for the 6th position. Probst now back to the bottom, side by side with French. Probst having a moment off turn number 4, loses a little momentum, opens the door now for Colby to take the position. Probst seemed to be picking up a bit of speed here as he was working on the 53 of French, but it looks like he's back at the whip again. Now side by side with Colby. Colby gets clear. Back out front, we'll check on the race leaders here. Rye Jones still out in front. Chris Smith runs P2. Justin Wilson closing in on these two drivers as well. Been a bit of a back and forth battle between these two. Rye Jones took the outside and quickly worked up to the race lead. Then Chris Smith took the bottom, got it back. And now Rye Jones has fought back and retaken the race lead yet again. Chris Smith not willing to go quietly, though. He's at the bottom of the racetrack yet again. It worked before, why wouldn't it now? Thing is, with these two battling, it's going to allow Justin Wilson to close the gap, and it has done just that. Wilson's right there in the 3rd spot, just a couple of truck lengths off the tailgate of the 28. Still, these top two drivers battling it out for the lead. Again, Chris Smith, he's really in a position where he's got to pick up this race win here tonight. And a slide job by Chris Smith out of 2. Takes back the race lead. Rye Jones all over the tailgate down into turn 3. Jones stays up, goes up the racetrack. See if he'll build a run out of 4. Don't think Jones had as good of an entry into 3 as he wanted. In fact, Chris Smith able to leg it out here just a bit, a truck length and a half the advantage. Jones does close it in down into turn number 1, but he's going to have to try it in a different part of the racetrack. While the battle out front has started to settle down, we'll check on some other things. Meanwhile, the 5 of Robert Probst is going to hit pit lane. Again, we talked about the fuel load on board tonight. 70% was the maximum. Not 100% sure what that means as far as lap count is concerned, but it's possible that Probst might be working an alternate strategy here, kind of run this race backwards, much like a road course. Effectively short pit that first segment. 4 tires and fuel. Probst drops the jack back down to their hunt. Meanwhile, we got a couple others. Matt Karakoff, Zach Mitchell going to come down pit lane. This could be the beginning of our first round of pit stops. Scott Tompkins going to pull down and pit. Chris Smith remains your race leader. Tompkins slides to a stop in his pit box. Right side tire change. Fuel going in. Likely to be a 4-tire stop. Tompkins going to use his first set. And the caution comes out. We got trouble. Not sure exactly who it is. Possibly Robert Probst. We just saw the 5 make a pit stop, and then the yellow comes out. We've seen it a lot this season where these trucks are a little bit difficult to handle on fresh tires, but let's see if we can find what happened here to the 5. Yeah, this is right after Probst left the pits, and you see the rear end just steps out on him. Saves it, but then he overcorrects into traffic. I think he was lucky enough to not get collected. And I don't think if he did get a piece of the safer barrier there on the backstretch, it was just a slight little touch. So this is going to drag everybody else into pit lane. Chris Smith, Rye Jones, Justin Wilson, Johnny Rapp, Pat Colby, and the rest of this Spark Truck Series field. Tompkins, of course, he's going to stay out on the racetrack. Remember, he made his pit stop under yellow. Sorry, under green, but then the yellow came out. Not sure if he went down a lap or not. We'll have to look at that here momentarily, but it seems that he's the only lead lap driver to stay out once the yellow flew. And it looks like he may be a lap down. He might have lost that lap on that cycle anyway, so either way, he may get the wave around here, so he should still be in decent shape just at the back half of the lead lap trucks. Chris Smith is the first one to come out, though. He'll be the new race leader. After Rye Jones will be second. Slower pit stop for Jones, about a tenth well, just a little less than a tenth and a half slower than Chris Smith. Third will be Wilson. Fourth, Rapp, and Ayers will be fifth. So you see just ahead here, right behind the pace car, you got Tompkins, Karakoff, I think Zach Mitchell, yeah, the 23. These drivers were all on pit lane when the yellow flew. Ten laps shy of halfway here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. And for those of you watching, if we were not live until, I don't know, maybe right as the race was starting, let me know. I know I went in and I did our intro for the race tonight. I thought we were live at that point. I never clicked the live button once I sat back down, so I think we were good to go. But there were some messages coming through from the admins that we weren't live, and of course, this broadcaster panicked. But sorry for the confusion there. Glad we got it squared away. Still roll behind the pace car. Lights are on. Should see them go out as we cross the stripe as we get the one to go. And I think Tompkins, Karakoff, and Mitchell will get the wave around here. And there you see it. So the front row is going to be Chris Smith and Rye Jones. I kind of expect Rye Jones to take over the race lead after about a lap or so. He's on the outside. That's where he wants to run. That's where he's been running for the majority of this first 35 laps of this race. And it was paying off for him quite well. A lot of back and forth between himself and Chris Smith. Smith really hasn't gone up top, so he's been able to get done on the bottom. I think Homestead-Miami Speedway has really got the configuration kind of nailed here for these trucks. Right now, the only truck not on the lead lap is the 5 of Brobst. Of course, Robert Brobst involved in that first caution, a single truck spin to put us under yellow for the first and only time tonight. But if we get another caution, he's the only truck a lap down, so he should get that lap back. All is not lost for the 5.
Green flag.
Pace car is in, green flag back in the air. Chris Smith on the gas, a good jump by the 28. See if Rye Jones can rock that outside line. And Jones on this outlap, though, on the restart, not taking the top side, kind of closes off the run from Justin Wilson. Johnny Rapp runs 4th, Colby 5th. Top 6 drivers, all single file as they work into turn 3. Chris Smith enjoying the clean air out in front. Able to pick and choose the lanes he wants to take. But Ryan Jones switching up his game plan a bit. We really would have thought he would have gone top of the racetrack like he had early on, but runs in the tire tracks of the 28 machine. Back to start finish. Lap 39 goes up on the board. Johnny Rapp losing some ground here on this restart. Slipping back a bit, trying to hold off the 9 of Pat Colby to hang on to that 5th position. Behind them, it's Brian Brobst, James Danforth. A couple of trucks out of shape off turn 2. And we've got our old friend Haley back in the stream chat. For those of you who don't know, Haley is a longtime HBR TV watcher, viewer. She says it's 3:33 in the morning Good night from Sweden. Happy racing. Hit that like and subscribe. Haley, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Meanwhile, we've seen Justin Wilson slip a bit. Remember, he was running in that third spot, no problem. Now he's under fire from Pat Colby. May lose the 5th position. Johnny Rapp has slipped back to 7th spot. Oh, Brobst way out of shape to the inside. Did he hit anything? Looks like he didn't, and he gets back up on the racetrack. Now he hits Pat Colby, spins the truck. We've got multiple vehicles involved here. Caution still hasn't come out. There it is.
One thing for sure, everybody on the racetrack will be pissed off at somebody else on the racetrack.
Well, that didn't go how they wanted it, I'm sure. But again, Brobst got sent down the inside of the racetrack, was out of view with the camera for a moment. As soon as he came back, unfortunately slipped up the track, got into the 9 of Colby. Wreck already happening here. Let's back things up, see if I can get a better view on this. So starts looks like out of turn 2. Trying to get a good angle on this. Brobst was trying to look to the inside of Wilson. Tucks down, but Colby's right there. He's got maybe a third of his truck alongside the 11. Honestly, both these guys do a great job to not wreck each other right there. The fact that Brobst was able to keep the truck straight, even though he's way down in that lower runoff, that's impressive in itself. But he's going to come back up into turn 3 here. Truck just slides up into the 9. Colby dirt tracking it through. Does he save this truck? Looks like he does. But unfortunately for some of the trucks in behind, Nick Saroff included, they collect the 11. Robert Lydell in it as well. You see the 80 truck up top. So caution number 2, just shy of the halfway point of tonight's race. Season finale of the Spark Truck Series. Checking back in the stream chat again. Had a bunch of chatters early. I don't know if they're actually fans or bots or what. I don't recognize some of the names, but some are familiar. So we had Faith Wells checking in. Bali Civic. Of course, Haley from Sweden. John Rapp just saying hello. Thanks for checking in, everybody. We're trying something a little different this week, too. Being the season finale, we've actually set tonight's stream to be broadcast in 4K, ultra high def. So if you've got a really good internet connection that'll support that sort of thing, go ahead and change your resolution settings in your YouTube browser to 4K, and it'll come in nice and crisp. Pace car lights go out, and for a moment, Chris Smith disappears. That's got to make him a little nervous. hasn't really been an issue for the first half of this race. Hopefully it doesn't rear its ugly head. Faith Wells, I'm not calling you a bot. That's a name that seems familiar. Yeah, she says, "Yee, Zach." That's a normal response. And let's see, Selena Universe says, "Looks like bots to me." Some are. I thought Selena might be, but I guess not. I kind of recognize the name now. I've seen that one before. Your mom? What did I do? All right, enough of the chat. Back to the race. Pace car about to pull in. There it goes, left down pit lane. Chris Smith, Rye Jones going to take them back to start finish. Green flag in the air. We're back racing from Homestead. Field out of turn 2. Everybody thinks I'm hating on you guys. I'm not hating on the chat. I'm glad you're here. And just some of them might be bots. I don't know. I'm not saying you are. All right, enough of that. Second place taken away by Justin Wilson. Rye Jones finally slips back to P3. It's an awful close move there for the 58. A little more aggressive than I think he even needed to do. Again, Wilson just has to have a solid night. Doesn't really need to worry about winning. But again, if you're a racer, you're a racer. You're going to go out there and try to win this thing. Chris Smith, of course, his closest competition in the point standings. In the second in the points, and Tompkins might have a trouble. Oh, does he save it to turn 3? He gets it in the grass, but he keeps it off the racetrack. He's going for one hell of an excursion here, trying to save the truck. He's down on the road course. What a spin for Scott Tompkins. He's going to lose a ton of track position, but man, did he do a good job keeping that out of traffic. Back out front, Chris Smith, half a second advantage on second place, Rye Jones, as Jones was able to take back the second spot from Justin Wilson. Bit of a seesaw back and forth for some of these drivers. Wilson was up to second, then third, then he dropped back to fifth or sixth. Now he's back up into the top 3 again. Got to wonder if these drivers are just still trying to feel out the tire conditions. How hard can you push? How early? Again, many of these drivers still have another set of tires over the wall that they can utilize later on if necessary. Want to make note, too, look at the 55 of Evan Pienta. Started on the outside front row. We saw him in pit lane on that first lap while I was trying to figure out if we were still live. But he's worked himself back into the top 5 from going to the rear. I assume serving a penalty on the opening lap, but a good job by the 55. He's really working his way through. Right to the back bumper of Brandon Ayers. Again, this for the 4th position if he can get around the 16. Now, we talked about a few of those drivers that were on pit lane when that first caution came out. Zach Mitchell was one of them. They got the wave around when we went back green. Mitchell now in the 16th position. Forward progress of 8 spots. Having a solid run so far. Plenty of race left. Zach Mitchell, the number 23 Liquid Death Chevrolet. Back out front, Chris Smith stepping up the pace a bit here as he's got now almost a full second on Rye Jones. Last lap almost a full 10th faster than the second place machine. Justin Wilson, though, right on par with Chris Smith. In fact, a little bit faster that time, almost a 10th quicker than the race leader. So I don't know if Justin was just saving his stuff a little bit here for later on in this run. Meanwhile, Brandon Ayers still right to the tailgate of the 58 machine. Evan Pienta right on the tailgate of Ayers. This battle still hotly contested. Evan Pienta still hanging out of that 5th spot. Justin Wilson way up the racetrack, might have gotten a piece of the wall just ever so slightly. Opens the door for Ayers. So Wilson starting to fall back yet again. Justin Wilson's taking a page out of Rye Jones's book here, switching it up, going to the top of the racetrack. Of course, now as soon as I say that, he drops all the way down to the bottom. Rye Jones still working the high side. Evan Pienta now going to switch up, go top side as well. It's not totally out of the norm to see somebody who's working the top lane or the bottom all of a sudden decide to switch it up, especially if they're not in the race lead. Kind of have to plan the runs based on what's in front of you, how far out that lead truck is. Because the truck that's in front of you is dumping a lot of dirty air on the nose of your truck, taking away some of that downforce. So in the case where Rye Jones is going to work the top side of the racetrack, you're going to see Wilson want to work the bottom. Put a little bit more fresh air on the nose of that Chevrolet so he can have the most downforce so that truck continues to turn. Seems to be working as he's closed the gap now to within about a truck length off the back bumper. Big time run into turn 1 for Wilson. He's going to look to the inside now for the 2nd spot. And Wilson's just going back and forth here. He loses pace, and then all of a sudden he's shot out of a cannon. He loses pace, and then same thing. He just comes right back. Now Wilson's got to use the mirror a little bit more than the windshield as Pienta right to the back bumper. Maybe a touch of contact there from the 55. We got Baba J says go 67, and finally I'm getting a correction on the pronunciation for Nick. Let's see. It's pronounced the girl's name Sarah, but with an F. So Farah? Farah? So Seraph. All right, I think I got it. I'll try to remember it for next season. Evan Pienta all over Justin Wilson like a cheap suit. He wants that spot. Pienta's got the pace right now, wants to jump up into the top 3. Remember, Pienta had to go to the back, was worked his way all the way back through from the rear. Granted, we've had some cautions at least get him caught up, but still, he had to work his way through that traffic. Seraph? Is that better? I'm terrible at this sometimes. I'm really not trying to screw it up, I promise. Seraph like sheriff, but not really. Battle for the race lead on yet again. Smith and Jones side by side in the 91, back to work in the high line. It's hard to really make the decision here as to what line is best right now. It seemed that the top side is best for Rye Jones. He's predominantly using the top side, whereas same situation for Chris Smith. He's kind of sticking to the bottom and not really switching things up. But pace-wise, these guys seem to be pretty equal. Confirmation, I finally got it. Nick Serif. Yay. It's one of the things that it's probably the only thing I hate about broadcasting is trying to get everybody's names right, because I really don't want to mess them up, and sometimes it's inevitable. But thanks for the help on that one. We'll obviously get it right here for the next season, and I'll do some more homework. 64 laps in the books. This one is going by in a hurry. These guys are getting after it. Jones and Smith now 1 and 2, but for how long? Smith back to the bottom again. And each time he goes to the bottom of the racetrack, yes, he doesn't get clear, but does inch out into the lead for just that brief moment. But that's not enough right now. You got to get back to that start-finish line with your nose out in front. And right now it seems that the best line for that is what the 91 is running top side. Chris Smith tucks back in behind. "25 laps to go from Homestead-Miami Speedway." We continue to watch this fight out front. Meanwhile, Matt Kerkhoff's going to hit pit lane here. This is kind of what we saw earlier. We had a few drivers opt to pit a little bit before everybody else. In their case previously, the caution came out while they were on pit lane. Kerkhoff comes down, attention to his crew, eases it into the pit box. Last set of tires going on, 25 laps remain, so we can go hammer down all the way to the finish. And we got more takers on pit lane. The 23 is Zach Mitchell. Mitchell slides to a stop. The attention of his crew. Right side tires going on. The number 23, Sunoco Race Fuel going in. Crew around to the left. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for the 23 is Zach Mitchell. Drops the jack. He's down and away and back in action. Good to go to the end. Out in front, though, Evan Pienta pulls down. Can make his final pit stop of the evening. In the pit box, and man, every time I see Dale Earnhardt sticking his nose out the back of that spoiler, gets me every time. 4 tires and fuel for Pienta as Justin Wilson hits pit lane as well. Justin Wilson back in action. Rye Jones comes down pit lane as well. Chris Smith stays out to continue to lead this race. Jones has been a very fast truck here tonight. He spent most of the night up into the top 3. Started 8th. Pit work complete as the race leader Chris Smith now comes to pit lane for his final stop. about 3 drivers left on the track here that need to make another pit stop before this one comes to a close. Those two are Chris French and Chase Berry. Chris Smith down and away. Chase Berry having some connection issues here at the front of the field. The 46 machine, different colors this week, but still KBs all around on board. Oh, Justin Wilson a little loose off turn number 2 as he's running in behind Bry Jones. Wilson using the undercut to gain some track position over the Chris Smith machine. Johnny Rapp, Pat Colby, Pete Stewart, your race leaders, they still need to make a pit stop as well. When they come down, this likely to be the battle for the race lead. Looking a bit closer to it, looks like Brandon Ayers may take over the top spot once the pit cycle finishes up. We do have some drivers that are slightly off cycle. Now, pretty much everybody in the top 10 came down between lap 43 and 45. So their final stop going to come a little bit later. Top 9 trucks are really hoping to get a caution here, because if that's the case, they can come down and pit under yellow and have a bit of a tire advantage over the rest of these guys that already made their pit stop and have taken their final set of tires. Well, out in front, the 52 with Johnny Rapp continues to lead. When will he make his trip to pit lane? Pat Colby running back in the second position. Peter Stewart there in third. Fourth is William Lyman. Nick Serif runs fifth. And the caution comes out. This is what these leaders were hoping to see. Justin Wilson in trouble. Doesn't appear to be terribly damaged, but that's still not a good thing for the 58. Coming into tonight as the points leader. A little bit of left rear damage on that machine. He should be okay. Let's get a look, see what happened. Wilson up the racetrack. Rye Jones way up the track as well. And this is what we were talking about earlier on in the race. You run that high line like Rye Jones has been, you cannot afford a mistake of any kind. There's no room to fix it. Jones goes up the track, scrapes the wall, slows his momentum. Wilson can't react fast enough, gets into the back of the 91, and both drivers involved in this one here late. You see at the 91 up the track, just barely scraping the wall. Wilson doing all he can to try and hang on to it. It just wasn't enough, and once he gets to the bottom of the track, an overcorrection. Tough break for two fast trucks here tonight. So with 13 to go, Drivers in the top 8 in need of a late pit stop get the opportunity to do it under yellow. Johnny Rapp being one of them. This is going to be interesting to watch. There should be enough laps left for these guys to take some advantage of those fresher tires by comparison. Of course, they came down here at lap 77, so their tires are about 10 laps newer than the rest of the field. Justin Wilson still shown in the 7th position, so he still might get away with this one. We're going to have to be sure later on. We'll try and find out before we go off air tonight. Chris Smith runs in the 3rd position currently. He's in a good spot, but Wilson's going to come down and pit, trying to get some repairs made. Again, coming into tonight, that was the difference in points. A 42-point deficit. It's a good amount of points, but it's some. And a fast repair used here. That's interesting. I didn't realize we had a fast repair tonight. We usually do not. Wilson able to use it. Get back out there. So even with that pit stop, Wilson's able to come back out in the 14th position. Now, didn't have any extra tires to take, so he's going to have to deal with it with what he's got. So out front, currently with 12 laps to go, it's Brandon Ayers, Evan Pienta, Chris Smith, the top 3. Then James Danforth and Steve Loving. So it looks like we are on the one to go as Pienta and Ayers get formed up double-double here behind the pace car. And it's Chris Smith, James Danforth, Ellis Thomas up into the top 5. Thomas started 15th, looking for a solid finish. They're going to wave off the restart here, let these guys get caught up proper. So this will set us up for a 9-lap finish, or attempt at a finish. We do have one opportunity to green-white checkered if necessary. Drivers currently on the front row here in the latter stages. Neither of them have a race win this season. Frankly, neither does second place in the points Chris Smith, but Chris was able to pick up the race win last night in the practice race at Homestead. Ryan Jones going to restart at the back of the pack here, and he is indeed a lap down. So going from hero to zero, unfortunately, here in the final race of the season for the 91. Pace car is in.
Green
Green flag, airs in the throttle, he gets away. Pienta, a little wheel spin. Danforth's going to try and push the 55, but Chris Smith's already taken advantage of the battle for the second spot. Smith gets clear, he stays on the back bumper of the 16 of Ayers. We've got 9 laps to go from Homestead. Ayers a little loose off turn number 2. A couple drivers come together. Nick Seraph around in front of traffic, and we still don't get a caution. There it is.
Did you hear any static? Like somebody was keying up on your radio a few minutes ago.
Caution's very slow tonight for some reason. Usually see that at Talladega, but not here. Well, let's see if we can get a look at this. '67 already around at this point. Let's back it up a little further, see if we can get an indication of how this one started. May just been cold tires. So watch the '67. They're 3 wide behind him. And man, Justin Wilson's right there. I don't know if he got a piece of this or not. Yeah, Nick just gets loose off of 2, tries to save it. Wilson does get into the '67. Be curious if the right front's okay on the 58. Seraph gets up into ropes, almost goes up in the air on his lid. Settles back down on all 4s. There you have it. 4th caution of the night here. We've got 7 laps to go. Comment in the stream chat says, yikes, glad this is only a simulator. It makes a mama nervous. I'm just glad she called it a simulator. Call it a game, you ruffle some feathers. So outside of damage repair, I don't foresee anybody making a pit stop at this point. Looks like everybody's used up that last set of tires that they were worried about. I know we've got drivers in this league from all over the country. If anybody's in the path of Hurricane Milton, I hope you're being safe tonight. So there we have it. 1 to go signal has been given, so 1 more lap around will be green at lap, well, with 4 to go. Not quite to overtime just yet. There's always a chance. So on the front row here as we get ready for the restart, it's going to be the 16 of Brandon Ayers, 28 of Chris Smith. Trying to take advantage. However, Wilson has worked himself back up into the top 10. Green flag back in the air. 4 laps to go from Homestead. Oh, Danforth tried to juck down to the bottom of the racetrack with no room. Ellis Thomas there on the bottom side, unable to fill the gap. Danforth up the track, Johnny Rapp in behind. Ayers still with the race lead to his outside, Chris Smith trying to take it back. Johnny Rapp scrapes the wall in the middle of 3 and 4. Three laps to go from Homestead. Chris Smith jumps out to the race lead, still not clear of this 16. Meanwhile, Rye Jones in the chat says, "I'm terrible. I had the truck to beat and I hit the wall like a loser. Thanks for putting on the show." Well, you're welcome. I'm happy to put the show on, but man, you had a great run here tonight. Tough break, man. It's the way it goes sometimes. Definitely not a loser. Look good out there. Oh, contact! Johnny Rapp goes around.
Caution.
And with 2 laps to go, that's going to send us to overtime. Our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Rapp hits the inside safer barrier, but he's able to drive away from the scene. We saw this getting ready to happen. These guys were trying to really get all they could. Ellis Thomas switched lanes to pass Danforth, but he got more than he bargained for, went down too far, gets into the side of Johnny Rapp, and same thing with the 52. He almost takes flight. Pat Colby has a big wreck here, too. We'll have to take a look at that in a moment as well. Justin Wilson involved in that one, too. And Colby almost gets up on his lid. What's a championship race without a little more drama? So Chris Smith was the race leader at the time of caution. So he'll get the option to start at the bottom or the top as the race leader when we go back to green here. This will be our first and only attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Try to settle this thing under green. Smith doing all that he had to do here tonight. That's be in a position to win this race. Wilson's had his share of struggles, but he's still just outside the top 5 in position number 6. Should be enough to secure the championship if it were to end right now, but we've still got to get through this green-white checkered finish. We'll be sure to confirm who finishes where in the standings before we get through with all of our interviews tonight. Got a feel for Rye Jones here, just reading his chat message here again. It's a hard pill to swallow, but man, he was strong tonight. Right out of the gate. Went right up top in the first 5 laps. Was getting it done up there like nobody else, and just one small mistake. It's all it takes. Again, we talked about it early in the broadcast, how if you're running that real high line like that, if you have to correct the truck in any way, you're almost guaranteed to get the wall. And that's what happened. In the case where Justin Wilson was right there in behind him, they made contact. Unfortunately for the 91, it's going to be night over. And Nick Seraph in the chat says, well, the truck snapped around on me. Never had that happen before. We've seen it a couple of times here tonight. Again, this newest tire model on these trucks, it's made them more of a driver's truck. It used to be all about momentum, but now you got to wheel these things too. Especially on new tires. That's where it seems that most of that happens, or new-ish or cooler tires. Once the tire temperatures and pressures come up, they're a little easier to drive. I think Nick Seraph would say the same, though. It's a little unpredictable. Justin Wilson's going to restart to the inside, so he is the 5th place truck. I wouldn't even count him out for a potential race win still. It's going to be a tall task, though. Chris Smith has been lights out here tonight. And with this few laps left, it's going to be hard to guard. Pace car is in. Green flag in the air, and let's get it done. Green-white checkered overtime here at Homestead. 2 laps to go. Smith gets out to the early lead. Ayers tries to block the advance from Evan Pienta. They're side by side. Smith gets away. Battle is on behind the race leader off turn number 2. Ayers maintains the 2nd spot. Danforth in the tire tracks. Evan Pienta with Justin Wilson pushing into turn 3. Out of turn number 2, Chris Smith looking for the white flag. There it is. Final lap from Homestead-Miami Speedway. The last lap of the season. Chris Smith doing all that he can here tonight. Everything that he needed to do. Be out front. Be a contender. Take the race win. He's got just about a half lap left to finish that goal. And Justin Wilson loose off turn number 2, but he saves it. Might have saved the championship for the 58. He's in 3. Middle of 3 and 4 for the final time. Chris Smith looking for the checkers, and he sees them. Just a straightaway, a half straightaway away, and there it is. Checkered flag. Chris Smith wins it. Chris Smith takes the checkered flag, did what he had to do. Pienta comes up to congratulate. Justin Wilson ends up finishing in the 7th spot. I will try and confirm where the points ended up tallying out before we get to our interviews. Chris Smith celebrating. He had a goal, he set it, and he achieved it. But unfortunately, Justin Wilson just didn't have enough problems here tonight. Justin Wilson will be your champion of the Spark Truck Series. Chris Smith doing a Polish victory lap in the meantime, but we'll step aside here, get a break out of the way, back with our top three and hopefully our champion after this. Stay with us.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, Chris Smith just finishing up celebrating a race win here at Homestead. We're going to talk to our race winner and second place finisher in the point standings. Let's see if we can get a word with Chris Smith. Chris, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
I got you loud and clear.
Chris, congratulations, man. You did what you set out to do tonight. You had to win this race. Justin Wilson needed to have some struggles as well. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. You take the checkered flag and you win this thing. But walk us through your race. You were shot out of a cannon, it seemed like, right off the bat, starting in the second row and quickly into a battle for the race lead with Rye Jones. You wanted the bottom, he wanted the top. You seemed content with that. Was this kind of where you were comfortable running?
Yeah, for sure. You know, some of those guys are just super, super good at running that top lane, and that's just never really been my strong suit. And anytime that I do that here, I always just kill the tires. So Just had the game plan tonight of trying to wrap that white line from green flag to checkered flag, and we had that rash of cautions there at the end. Hated to see that happen. I know some guys got tore up that maybe probably didn't deserve to get tore up, but yeah, it was a great race, and glad to bring home a checkered flag here in the last one.
Certainly an impressive run. Congratulations again. I see you won the practice race last night and tonight. Is there something about this place that just kind of suits your driving style?
Yeah, I think so. This is I knew when the schedule came out that this was probably my best shot to win, and with a field this stacked, they're really, really good. Justin every single week, and Evan up here on the podium, Johnny, Nick. I know he's not running here these last couple of races, but there's a lot of really fast guys every single week, and it's hard to win them. So we waited the last race to even lead a lap here. So glad to do it, and if there's going to be a track, it's probably going to be this one for me.
Certainly been a fun season to watch, an entertaining race, especially here this evening. Again, nice job on that race win. Who do you have to thank for getting you to this point?
I just want to give a shout out to my Slingshot Racing teammates, Ellis, Paul, Steve. It's been fun racing with them all season. We're going to have a little bit of a break before January comes around. And special shout out also to Robert and Johnny and all the league admins here in Spark, Randy for doing the race control, Evan for this awesome paint scheme here, you for doing a great job on the broadcast. Shout out to my parents at home if they're still watching. And all the drivers here. It's been a great season. Hopefully we'll see them back in January.
Job well done, Chris. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck in January. We go on to the next season, and I believe we'll be back.
Awesome. Hey, we're looking forward to it. Like I said, you guys do a great job, so we're looking forward to having you back.
Appreciate the kind words, Chris. Thanks for talking to us.
Have a good one.
Chris Smith, your race winner here at Homestead. Next, we're going to talk to the 55, Evan Pienta, finishing in the second place here tonight. We'll pull driver that number 55, the EPD Evan Pienta Designs machine, into the booth. It's Evan Pienta. Evan, you got me?
I got you.
There we go. Having a solid run. Started second, finished second. We had a little technical difficulty on our end to start this race off. You started on the front row, but as we looked back at the screen, you're in the pit lane. Walk us through what happened there.
Yeah, I got a black flag on the initial start. I guess I jumped the start. I kept it at 65 pace speed and went when the green flag went. Talked to Justin post race, and he thought it wasn't really a black flag worthy black flag, so had to serve the drive through down there and kind of was behind the 8 ball from there, but tried to rebound with the pit strategy, and cautions came at an okay time. So
well, you certainly had pace out there, and obviously you were able to work your way through the field. Obviously the strategy helps a bit as well, but still bring the truck home into a second place finish. Is this a track that's just kind of in your wheelhouse, or are you just kind of learning it, or what's the deal here?
Honestly, it's kind of always been hit or miss for me. It depends on the car, and it depends really whenever I run it. I've been good here, and then I've been not very good here. It's just guys in this league I've never really been the best at saving tires. Tried to get better over the years, and felt like I kind of got better throughout the run here itself. Even that first run after getting behind, I kind of burned them up trying to maintain a gap with the leaders, and then at second run kind of cut through the field a little bit and then tried to settle in and was better, and then that final run kind of got caught with all the cautions, but still felt I was saving my stuff enough to where I could get by the 16 on that final restart.
Well, hard work paid off here tonight, a second place finish. Congratulations at that, Evan. Who do you want to shout out to before I let you go?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out for you to putting the broadcast on. Johnny, Robert, and all the guys at Spark for putting the league on. I know they do a lot of hard work behind the scenes. My F. Scott Motorsport teammates, James with a good finish as well. Nick wasn't here. Everybody at the IUPUI gang in Indy, all those guys, and EPD Design Company. Really cool to do all the pole award stuff with this league. It's a cool promotion, and it's a cool thing to add on. And then just Epic Machinery and my family.
Well, I definitely got to say, EPD definitely does a great job with the designs, whether it's logos or race paint schemes, things like that. You do awesome work. Certainly appreciate helping us out on the broadcast side of things, too.
No problem. I can help.
Well, good to talk to you, Evan. We'll hopefully talk to you some more coming up in January next season.
Sounds good.
That's Evan Pienta, your second place finisher here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the driver of the Napa Break number 88, carrying that throwback paint scheme into the final race of the season. It's kind of the same sponsor that he runs anyway. So we'll pull the driver of the 88 up into the booth. James Danforth. It's Steve with HBR TV. You got us?
I do.
James, congratulations, man. A third place finish after a 16th place start. A little bit of strategy seemed to pay off for you here tonight. What was the game plan coming in? And is that the game plan that ended up paying off?
Game plan was just kind of run the bottom, save the tires. Was hoping to just run the truck out of fuel each run, but didn't really get a chance to do that. But ended up working out well.
Things got a little crazy there in the final couple of laps, dodging some spinning cars and the like. You managed to get through it. How did you get through that mess?
Not really sure.
Just close your eyes and pray.
Yep.
All right, fair enough. James, looking forward to next season coming up in January. I don't know if you guys are running the Xfinity car or something else, but either way, it's going to be a blast. Looking forward to it. You're going to be around for that?
Oh, definitely.
All right, James. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Who do you want to shout out to before I let you go?
Let's give a shout out to the team owner, Evan, I guess.
Fair enough. All right, James. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next season.
Alrighty. Thank you. Have a good one.
Too. James Danforth, your third place finisher here from Miami. And last but not least, we're going to talk to our champion, Justin Wilson, coming home in the 7th position. It looked like he was in position for possibly picking up the win here tonight. Wasn't able to do that. Little issue coming off one of the corners here. I think it was in the final lap. Almost threw it all away, but Justin Wilson still hangs on for a championship. Justin, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Justin, congratulations, man. We're just talking about this race went from pretty decent to, after halfway, pretty chaotic for you. You were involved in a couple incidents, one with Rye Jones. He got up into the fence, and you just didn't have the time to react. And then it seemed like you were a ping pong ball out there right up until even the last lap. You managed to save it. I think it was down the backstretch, come home to a 7th place finish and an eventual championship. Walk us through your race.
Well, I mean, yeah, the Homestead's my worst track, so we kind of expected to not do so well here. But I was actually, I felt like we were actually doing really well at the beginning of the race. I was kind of just saving the tires, and I knew at the end of the field run I was able to really gain ground and get up to them. So we were trying to do some strategy in the pits. But yeah, after getting into it with Ryan there, after he tagged the wall, I tried to move down, but I had already had the momentum going in the corner. I tapped the brakes to even try to get it down, but when he pulled it off the wall, I just kind of had nowhere to go. Luckily, we were able to get the car fixed and get back out there, and we actually had a pretty decent shot, I felt like. We got in with Nick Serif there, kind of got loose, but didn't hurt the car too much. Was able to get up there probably, 5th or so, but yeah, the last lap chaos. Just kind of two drivers fighting for one spot, and fortunately able to hold on to it. But hey, all I had to really do was just come in here and just log laps to kind of bring it home. So that's what we did.
Well, it paid off in the end, of course, a title coming your way for this truck season. I want to talk about that incident with Rye Jones a bit more. Obviously, you both got into the wall after making contact. You came down. How bad was the truck? Because I did see that you were able to use a fast repair, one that I didn't think that you guys ran with. But you were able to use that, get the truck back out there. Was it really that bad?
Yeah, fortunately, some errors were made when making the session, and they accidentally had a fast repair in there. So they said, instead of trying to police it, they said, "All right, guys, you get this one freebie," And fortunately, we had one because we pretty much kept the truck clean all season. So this was pretty much the first wrecks I've been in all season. So yeah, the truck was pretty tore up. Partially my own because I kind of hit them after the fact too. So. That's what really did it in. So the fast repair really is what saved it. But
Well, you've been good all season long. A little bit of luck in the final race always helps as well. You still pick up that title. Are we going to see you in January when we get to the next season?
I fully expect to, unless some crazy stuff happens. That's the plan.
All right, Justin. Well, again, congratulations. An awesome season, an awesome championship. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Well, thank you, man. Thank you for sure for putting the show on. The whole Spark Racing League, right? Goon Squad, all the sponsors associated with. I want to thank my teammates. Ryan, even though we had that conflict, right? No big deal, right? Water under the bridge. Chase Berry had a good run. Shout out to Johnny Rapp. They had some good runs. He got kind of caught up in that last one. Race control for Randy, and pretty much just everyone all around, man. It's been a fun season. I say that we had a very successful season this season, so it's been a lot of fun, and looking forward to all the other seasons. Looking forward.
All right, Justin. Well, again, congratulations. If we don't talk before January, have good holidays and enjoy this win.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Take care. Justin Wilson, your champion of the Spark Truck Series. Going to carry that momentum into January for the next season. We'll see what he's got in store for the rest of the competition. Will there be anybody else that can maybe knock him down to P2, P3, or even further? We'll see. With that said, let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to Chris Smith, Evan Pienta, James Danforth. Those were your top three finishers. Brandon Ayers was 4th. Chase Berry, 5th. 6th place finisher was Chris French, 7th. Went to Justin Wilson. Peter Stewart was 8th. 9th place finisher Scott Tompkins, 10th. Went to Steve Loving. Shane Trotter was 11th. Zach Mitchell, 12th. Robert Brobst was 13th. Robert Liddell, 14th. Matt Kerkhoff was 15th. Steve Vest finishes in the 16th spot. Pat Colby was 17th. Ellis Thomas finishes in the 18th spot. 19th, Johnny Rapp. 20th, Paul Thomas. 21st, Jake Mackey. Jacob Phillips was 22nd. Will Lyman was 23rd. Nick Serif, 24th. Brian Brobst was 25th. Tough break for Rye Jones. 26th place finish, 15 laps down. That stings. He had a fast truck here tonight. Certainly would have been a contender for the race win. We saw him and Chris Smith battling it out quite a bit this evening, but just one small mistake is all it took. And unfortunately for Rye Jones, he's going to finish dead last in this one. Can only look forward to the next season. That's what he's going to have to do. And again, that's coming up here, I think, January the 8th. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's probably not even confirmed, but the first week or so in January, we should be back live here with the Spark Racing League. Got to thank all you guys for tuning in here tonight. As always, it's been fun. I don't know if we had a miscommunication earlier in the chat. I wasn't calling any of the regulars bots, I promise you. I appreciate when you guys are here, even more so when you're chit-chatting and going back and forth. That makes it that much more fun for me. So keep it up in the next season. No, I don't think you're bots. Just keep it up. Other than that, that's going to do it for us. Again, if you haven't already done so, like, follow, share, subscribe. That helps us immensely, and all those things are free to do. Congratulations to Chris Smith on the race win and Justin Wilson on the title. We'll see you guys again here at the next one.